Welcome, everybody. We're really, really, really glad you're here. Bobby and I have done two webinars on gut health this week, and we wanted to give you a very short version of what we shared. So if you are joining us live or for the replay, say hi in the comments. We can't see your comments. We're streaming from Zoom, so we will look at them afterwards. We are going to give you some actionable steps that you can take. So hang in there and we're going to get going. I'm Heather Sunderland from Health Coaching by Heather, co-founder with Bobbi for navigating mold and SIRS. We both specialize in helping people recover from chronic illnesses like mold toxicity, Lyme, SIRS, using a regenerative approach, and we help people with their gut health.
And I am Bobbi
Um,
McGrath, and I am the owner of Be For You Health Coaching. And I, like Heather already said, help people with complex conditions and work with them on all kinds of issues with their gut and their now post-surgery recoveries, as I have done this last year. And excited to be able to bring this gut information to everybody.
Bobby, can you
One of the
share why we're
reasons Yeah, one of the reasons we are doing this work is that, at least why we're doing what we're doing today is we're educators. That's really at the root of everything is we're educators, and we want to bring education and awareness to everybody about their health, that there's things they can do about their health. And a lot of times people think, oh, it's my genetics. My parents had this, my grandpa had that. You have the ability to change the epigenetics around your genes and make things not express the way they are. And you have the ability to restore your health, as Heather and I have from Lyme and mold and chronic inflammatory response and whatever other labels you want to add on to that, Heather. But we're here to bring hope and just to help people find their way with making the next right move in their health.
Thanks, Bobby. Yeah, we just want to help people to know that they can get better and get better quicker than we did for sure. Because I was sick a really, really long time, 28 years. So we want to give you answers and solutions to get to the root cause. That's why we're calling it root cause reset. So I'm going to let Bobby give you a little introduction on what we're going to talk about.
So basically, a lot of people think that gut health is just about, the fact that you maybe have bloating or digestion, but your gut is impacting your brain. So the health in your gut, your microbiome in your gut, it's impacting your brain, your hormones. A lot of people don't realize your energy is very much impacted by your gut health and your skin, especially. And your liver health is a huge piece to that as well. And today we want to share with you why your gut might be struggling. And it's not always about what you eat. A lot of times people think, oh, they're going to tell me not to eat this, or they're going to tell me to take that out. But it's not always about that. We're going to talk about the nervous system, your stress that you're under, toxins that could be impacting you, and pathogens that are in our world that potentially are taking over your gut more than someone else's, and how these lead to sluggish digestion and whole body symptoms. So a lot of times people might not think that their migraine is part of their gut health, or that their skin condition like eczema, rosacea, acne could be part of your gut health. And so we hope today that we bring you a few nuggets that you can walk away with.
Thanks, Bobby. So I'm going to get into some facts about gut health. I want you to understand that when I use the word gut or gut microbiome, we're talking about everywhere from the mouth to your anus, and it is made up of bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites. And they do serve a purpose at low levels. But when those levels get out of balance is when we have a problem. I want you to know that 70% of your immune system resides in your gut. So if you're getting sick a lot, it can be related to this imbalance in your gut. 90% of your serotonin, your happy hormone, is made in the gut. So if you're struggling with depression or anxiety, usually the gut is involved in that. And also, energy metabolism and weight management is heavily impacted by the health of our gut because if our gut's out of balance and inflamed, that's going to cause inflammation. And it's going to affect your ability to absorb nutrients, and definitely inflammation can affect our health and our weight.
The other big piece to that microbiome is the fact that there is a big highway between your brain and your abdominal area where all of your organs are and your digestive system. It's called the gut-brain axis. And what happens is your nervous system is connected, directly connected to your gut and sends signals back and forth. But actually, there's about 10 signals going up to the brain for every one signal coming down. So our brain is really, our gut is really informing our brain about a lot of things in our environment. And so we want you to understand that when you have, I call it roadblocks or potholes, or you have issues with that highway, that informational highway between your gut and your brain, you're going to struggle with your gut digestion. You're going to struggle with mood, things that a lot of times people wouldn't connect. Like before you go in on an antidepressant or something like that, I would always recommend to my clients, let's work on the gut health first before you start a medication for anxiety or depression. Um, there is something called a migrating motor complex, and it's a wave. It's kind of a wave like that goes through your system. And motility is actually moving things along in your digestive system. And this wave happens to go through, it's God created it, that the brain tells the gut to have motility. So there's a connection there. And it cleans up pathogens and undigested food. It's like a Roomba that you would use in your home and turn it on and it would go around and clean up the different crumbs on the floor. And when that migrating motor complex gets damaged by toxins or pathogens or stress, which a lot of people don't realize that stress is a huge impact on your digestive system and your small intestine and your large intestine, your stomach, that cleanup can't happen, especially if you are a person potentially who is stress eating, maybe eating late at night. The body needs that time, that space when you're not eating, because that's when it cleans up. That's when the migrating motor complex cleans up. It also needs time when you sit down to have a meal. Um, it needs time to realize, oh, this person's going to be eating, putting your feet on the floor, sitting in a chair, actually acknowledging in your body that you're going to take in a meal and smell your food, um, give thanks for your food, calm your nervous system down, maybe take a few easy in breaths and exhales to just prepare your body, because that's letting your body know, oh, the food's coming. It starts the salivary glands that produce the enzymes to start the digestive process. And it actually turns on this whole chain reaction that happens in your gut so that the gut knows food's coming, bring up the acid so that it can break down the food. And when those things don't happen because the person, say, is in fight or flight is your sympathetic dominated state. It's there to keep you alive and for a purpose. But when we get stuck in that state throughout our day, or let's say you're eating in the car, or you're stressing your kids out by having them hurry up and eat, or hurry up and get ready and skip dinner and have it in the car, things like that. It's too stressful on the nervous system. And the parasympathetic state is a place where the body is resting and digesting. And if we're not in a relaxed state, we cannot digest our food. Not only can we not digest it, but we also don't produce the enzymes as much to actually break the food down. So the food goes in and it doesn't have like the Dawn dish soap to break it down. So what happens is it ferments, it creates gas, and you get bloated, and you also feel full, and you start to get constipated because things are not working the way they're supposed to. So a lot of times people might feel like they just can't really eat and feel comfortable after they eat, and they get into this cycle, and you even worry about what you're eating potentially, like, oh, am I going to feel bad after I eat this? Am I going to get bloated? There's a lot that goes on up between your ears that actually has a lot to do with your digestion. So if this is something that you struggle with, that's one thing that Heather and I absolutely feel like we have, a handle on, because Heather's been working with her own nervous system to overcome some things in the gut area too, if you want to share about that at all.
Well, thanks, Bobby. Those are really great tips. And I actually love hearing the reminder. We all need that reminder, even just to slow down when we eat, to take a moment to be thankful and to get grounded before we eat our food so that we're not eating really quickly and not thinking about it. But I have shared on social media that I recently was very, very sick from May on with H. pylori and undiagnosed giardia, which I have no idea how I got, and very, very sick, vomiting and dry heaving. And those pathogens affect the migrating motor complex. Now, I no longer have giardia or H. pylori, but they damaged my vagal nerve. I have low vagal nerve tone from those pathogens, and they definitely damaged the migrating motor complex, and everything just stopped. And so, as a health coach, I've had to use every tool to support my migrating motor complex, and I've had to do nervous system work and vagal nerve tone work every day. And it's been a good lesson. If I do not do my vagal nerve tone work 3 to 4 times a day, I'm doing gargling. That's been what seems most effective for me. I literally will get so much more bloated and have so many more digestive issues. So it's not been fun, but it's been a great education to really understand all the aspects that go into gut health. I'm going to talk a little bit about toxins and how they impact the gut. Now, I think you've probably all heard us say that we are just being exposed to so much more than we've ever been exposed to. And a lot of times we're exposed and we don't even realize that we're being exposed to toxins in our air, in our water, in our homes, in our food, and even with the skincare and cleaning products we use. And our bodies were never meant to deal with this kind of burden. Our bodies were designed to detox, but what we're being exposed to and the level we're being exposed to has just become quite a burden on everybody's body. Things like mold, heavy metals, environmental toxins, they actually inflame the gut lining. They cause imbalances in the gut and can lead to leaky gut. And then once that gut, and if you can see my hands, we want the gut, these tight junctures to be nice and closed. But once these toxins in the gut gets inflamed, these tight junctures become open, allowing toxins and things that don't belong in the bloodstream to enter out of the digestive tract and into the bloodstream, and can cause systemic inflammation elsewhere. And these toxins and pathogens, they can lead to low stomach acid, a low bile flow. The liver produces bile, and the bile acts as an emulsifier of fat, and it stores the bile in the gallbladder. When you're ready to eat, the body will put out just the right amount of bile to help with digestion. But in that bile are toxins, and those toxins then get into the digestive tract and leave through the bowels. But if that bile flow is low, it's going to lead to symptoms that you have, and it's also going to mean it's harder for those toxins to leave the body. So all of these things can lead to bloating and nutritional deficiencies and even constipation. And I just want to mention, since Bobbi and I both had mold toxicity, mold is a great example of a toxin that a lot of times people don't know they're being exposed to in a home, from water damage, that's going to destroy the good bacteria in the gut. It's going to stress the liver and gallbladder, and it's going to slow down bile flow. And yeah, so those of you who have mold toxicity, this is a real thing. It really can impact your liver, your gallbladder, and your gut and digestion.
So the
So
the
just
fourth thing we want to talk about is pathogens in the gut. And a lot of times people have heard that word, but they don't necessarily know what the heck that means. Pathogens are things that are going to just damage our body. They're going to put more stress on our body. So in chronic infections like a candida infection, which most people have heard of that as like a yeast infection, that gets produced when you've got an over or an unbalanced gut microbiome. And it could be in the reproductive area, it could be in your mouth, it could be in your all the different areas of the body. It can even be in your skin. And there's also parasitic pathogens and bacterial and viral, like Lyme disease, and more that thrive when digestion is weak. So if you've got a weak gut lining, you're going to be more susceptible to the fact that there's those pathogens are coming in. So I like to say it's great to have a great strong front door. And it's great to have a great back door too to get things out, but you gotta close the front door and get a good lock on that front door to keep things out. And unfortunately, these microbes that are in the gut that are too high, let's say you've got a high parasite load or a high yeast um, count or a high bacterial load, depending on your situation, or all of them, they produce inflammatory cytokines, and they basically are stressing your gut out and your gut lining, and they're causing inflammation in the gut. And especially parasites, before they leave, let's say you're doing a parasite cleanse, they also dump a lot of heavy metals, they dump their gases, especially if you're poking them and trying to get rid of things. A lot of them are very smart, and they leave their calling card, I like to say, and they can make you feel really crummy. Um, Especially if you're getting too high of a load, you're going to start to notice symptoms, which is a whole nother live that Heather and I can do on parasites and things like that. But they can impact your mood. They can impact your metabolism. So somebody, let's say, that's carrying extra weight, their body's trying to protect them by putting these pathogens into the fat cells to protect them. So getting them out of circulation and storing them. And a lot of times people don't realize if they can really clean up their internal terrain and get rid of some of these pathogens, the weight will actually stabilize or come off. And then, as Heather's already mentioned, immunity. When you've got this heavy of a load in your system from however it came in, it doesn't really, it does matter because you want to shut it down, but it doesn't really matter how it came in. When the load is high, your immune system's going to always be struggling. It's going to be in fight or flight, trying to decide what it's going to be doing as far as first priority. And sometimes people, like in my case, when I was injured in a ski accident this spring and spent the last 7 months recovering from surgery and things like that, my body was trying to like repair my leg while it was also trying to keep me healthy from, keeping the mold out and things like that. So when the body is stressed out, it has to go to the number one priority. And that's not always keeping you healthy. It could be repairing something else. Um, an example might be like, let's say pathogens don't just stay in the gut, they have their byproducts and they circulate. So that can also be something where you have brain fog. That was definitely something when I was sick with mold. I had a lot of brain fog. Things became much harder for me to follow. Complicated directions, or if you were a person that plays cards or games and things like that, I really struggled to follow along and be in the game basically. And that can be when you have too high of a pathogen load. Your body's circulating those pathogens through your brain and leading it to have more brain fog and fatigue, and skin flare-ups are part of that as well. And Heather's going to talk to you a little bit about how these may show up in the body, just so you have a better idea and understand what's going on with yourself.
Thanks for that information, Bobby. I think Bobby and I would both agree that all of the clients we work with who have chronic conditions, all of them have elevated levels of parasites, viruses, bacteria, mold, and toxins and heavy metals in their body. And that all leads right to gut dysbiosis as well. So if you're someone who's dealing with Crohn's disease, colitis, irritable bowel, SIBO, food intolerances, or your diet's really, really limited. I was down to 10 foods due to SIBO, rashes, depression, anxiety, um, addressing and ruling out these toxins and pathogens as a root cause, because sadly, there's never one root cause. I wish that was the case. It's usually multifaceted. But as we address these root causes, there is the ability to reverse. I reversed SIBO. My husband had terrible rashes. He reversed all of his rashes that he had his entire life. I've had clients with Crohn's and colitis reverse Crohn's and colitis when we address the root cause. Um, so, just a reminder, if you've got low motility in your gut, that can be part of the reason for constipation and bloating. Mold exposure can lead to low motility and to constipation as well. If you've got low stomach enzymes, low stomach acid, that can lead to nutritional deficiencies. And when you've got low stomach acid, it makes the environment an environment where the bad bugs can thrive. And so then you can have overgrowth of these other pathogens as well. And all of these things lead to gut inflammation, which can lead to rashes. It affects our mood and can lead to major hormonal issues and even energy issues. And keep in mind, this gut dysfunction doesn't stay in the gut, it really impacts the whole entire body.
So we want you to connect the dots. And if this is something that's been bothering you, you've got a chronic gut issue. Maybe you always say, "Oh, I'm just always been constipated." Even as I mean, we have clients, right, Heather, that say, "I've been constipated since I was a little kid," and nobody ever told them like that's not normal. That's you don't have to live that way. Um, we would love for you to take the next step. We've got an amazing program that's launching on Monday, and it's going to be a weekly meeting with us on Monday nights on Zoom. And we're going to go in a deep dive. We're going to dig deeper into the gut health, and we're going to work with you on transforming. It's a transformational program for 6 weeks, and we're going to go through 6 modules. Each week, you're going to have homework, and we're going to have a coaching call, and we're just going to give you 1 or 2 things to do for the week and just help you focus on something simple and organized that's going to move the needle on your health. So at the end of the 6 weeks, you will have an amazing education on your gut. You'll have tools that you can use with nervous system. You'll have PDFs and trackers that will help you work with your digestion. It also provides you with recipes, and we also help you along the way because you're going to have some time with coaching personally, one-on-one with us. You get part of the program, you get a one-on-one coaching call with us, which is actually something that I think a lot of people don't realize, that when you can sit down with somebody and talk about your symptoms and put together a plan, it actually takes the weight off of you trying to figure everything else on your own. And that's what health coaches do. They help you, they sit next to you. They're not dragging you and they're not pushing you, they're sitting next to you. And that's what we're excited about. So if you're frustrated with your symptoms, let's say you always are bloated, or you have constipation or diarrhea or rashes, like we've talked about, or maybe even a limited diet, this is the time that you can put time and energy between now and before Thanksgiving, these next 6 weeks coming up, that are going to really change it so that you have a gut that can go into the holidays and handle the stress. And you also have less cravings and issues with food throughout the holidays, because one of the things, when our gut gets really unbalanced, you get a lot of cravings. And that is not a fun place to be. And especially when you've got a willpower that you've been working hard on and you cave because you're super, craving sugar or something like that. That's what this program's going to help you get through, is to kind of pinpoint what it is that maybe is going on in your life. So we're excited about it. We're going to post the link with this live that's going to live on Heather's page. And then we're going to post it onto my page and my health coaching page, Be For You Health Coaching. There'll be the link there. If you're really excited to get going with this and want to get going now and learn more, we have a link that will tell you all about the program. It'll give you the cost and everything like that, that we'll make sure that you get. But you can message either of us and we'll make sure that you get it. But we would love for you to be a part of this and to share this with somebody. Maybe there's something today that you heard that would be great for a friend or great for your spouse or something like that. So share this with them, or tag a friend or send it to them. And we're very thankful that you came today and listened to us, and appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Bobby. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And we hope you have a great weekend and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.